I restarted because it didn't have.
Wow, just okay. So, all right, open broadcaster, fun times. Man, I did a really good intro. All right, I'll do it again. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. We interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast with audio this time and breaking news that Congress and the White House have agreed on a $2 trillion coronavirus aid package. $2 trillion in aids. Following days of negotiations, Senate leaders and the White House struck the emergency economic stimulus deal on early Wednesday, which included business loans, expanded unemployment insurance, and direct cash payments for many Americans. As we said just a minute ago, it's time to turn up this graphic for real, right? $2 trillion. Does it have to be done? Probably. I mean, we need something. This definitely needs a stimulus. But any way you look at it is definitely printing money. However, today it's working. As you can see, the market appears to be going up on the printing of the money. Checking out the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's up 2.38% in the last 24 hours with a last of 21,196, a previous close of 20,704, previously as low as 19 or even 18,000. Perhaps still continuing to climb, this story just breaking right now. The news starting to go out to people that Congress has passed a $2 trillion stimulus plan. The biggest, the New York Times, could we say largest? The largest package in American history. The White House and Congress struck a deal in the pre-dawn hours to deliver $2 trillion in government relief to a nation increasingly under watchdown, watching nervously as the twin threats of disease and economic ruin grow more dire. Reached after midnight, the rescue deal was the product of a marathon set of negotiations among Senate Republicans, Democrats, and the White House that had stalled as Democrats insisted on stronger worker protections and oversight of a $500 billion fund to bail out distressed businesses. Senator Mitch McConnell, worst person in the world, Republican of Kentucky and Majority Leader, announced the deal on the Senate floor well after midnight. "At last we have a deal," the turtle said. "In effect, this is a wartime level of investment into our nation." A wartime level of investment. Checking out the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is down 1.78% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 6,652, a high of 6,976, and a low of 6,506. That's $1 for 15,083 Satoshis. Just barely above the 15,000 Satoshi barrier. Brrr. Checking out the coronavirus cases worldwide. Here comes the big refresh. Up from 400,000 to about 445,000 worldwide infected. 19,766 dead. Stay the fuck home. Don't go outside. Don't touch anything. Wear a fucking mask. If you don't have a mask, make a mask. If you know how to make masks, make more masks. Like this show. Thanks so much for joining us. We went live a little early. Nothing's really set up right now, but we thought it was very important to get that Congress news to you and to get your reaction. What do you think? Congress is printing $2 trillion to try to solve this problem. Many experts agree they're going to have to print more, maybe as much as $4 or $6 trillion in the near future to attempt to solve this problem. Checking out the United States coronavirus cases since yesterday, refreshing. It's up about 10,000 from 49,000 to 59,000 with 791 deaths. Continuing the growth, New York State is leading with 4,400 new cases, 30,000 total cases, and around 271 deaths so far. New Jersey, California, Washington, all on their way up, with Michigan, Florida, Illinois, and Louisiana catching up. So we have an exciting state-by-state laboratory of democracy and death going on here in the United States. All 50 states are now infected. Checking out the case on the linear scale, 54,000 infected in the United States, tracking back a little bit. That would be around March the 21st, that we were at 24,000 or around there cases. So given that it's the 24th, it's doubling every 3 days. So every 3 days, we can expect a double in the United States, meaning that by March the 27th, we should be at around 100,000 infected, which would be pretty much straight up here. We're not going sideways. We're not flattening the curve. We're looking at a straight up curve. Time to drink some tea. What kind of tea did you have this morning? I had green tea. This is the enemy. Doesn't care about your politics, doesn't care about your church, doesn't care about your schedule, doesn't care about your economy. Just wants inside. Just wants to rip you apart. The enemy. Enhance. Enhance.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Bitcoin price rejects 7,000, but Tone Vase says 75% chance BTC bottomed. Wow, 75% chance. That's 3 out of 4. White House's $6 trillion stimulus package is astronomically bullish for Bitcoin. No shit. No shit. I don't think we need to read this nonsense. What is that? Ding dong. Someone is here.
Hello, friend.
Dan. Hello, Dan. Welcome to the show. Dan, the Crypto Raptor. Right now we're all off screen and we're just talking about the Bitcoin news. But obviously the news of the day is, it says right here, Federal Reserve prepares to print 50 Bitcoin networks full of USD.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of Bitcoin networks. It's $2 trillion. We've got the graphic going here. This guy's working overtime. He's very busy. But maybe it's going to work, right? It's got business loans, expanded unemployment insurance, direct cash payments for many Americans. And it's just really, really nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. It's a lot of money to print, so it's a lot of nice.
Yeah. They had a plan for a little while for a digital dollar, but that didn't quite work out. They're not going to do the digital dollar. Hey, there's Dan, and there's me.
Yeah.
Hey, it's us. We're on TV. And now full screen. Nope, not yet. Oh, there it is. All right. What we really need is more graphics. That's what I think. Checking out the chat. Yuva says, good morning, Bitcoin. That's a good thing to say. Solar Van Life says we're going to have infinite inflation.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
There isn't infinite.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, I want to do the shorter one tomorrow, but I love that long one. It's nice. I might do both. I can probably do both, and I have options. Italy next, then China. We're number one. That's right. Solar Van Life is rooting for the success of the USA. We think that we can take down the other countries. We can be much bigger, have much bigger coronavirus than they ever could. So now's our chance. We're going to impress them all. So checking out the chat.
Have you seen something that's a bit of cool news? I thought was in the midst of despair that everyone's in at the moment, is that Folding at Home just surpassed the total computing power of the top 7 combined supercomputers, which is pretty cool. So I think there's a lot of people putting their CPU and GPUs to good use, by the sounds of it. Hopefully, like protein folding, like origami, we find a cure.
It was interesting. I saw Folding at Home was working on the COVID virus, but I wasn't quite sure what they were doing, how it was going to work, and so forth. So I hadn't talked about it much yet. But that's good that they're a massive supercomputer now. I certainly did my part back in the day. I had the whole computer labs cranking for them, and got in a lot of trouble for that later. That was not.
Isn't Ethereum meant to be a supercomputer? Couldn't that solve?
Oh boy, Ethereum. Just yesterday in Ethereum land, Vitalik, King Vitalik, Lord of Ethereum, he declared that there should be a cool place where you could trade your Bitcoin for Ether directly. He thought that this was what the Ethereum land was missing, and he did decree that there should be such a thing. So I guess they're working on it. I don't know. So, but we've got the chat big screen here. So let's keep reading the chat. Let's see. Dan can't see this. I don't know. Infinite inflation. Thomas is backwards again. Like there's not enough problems to deal with. Yeah. Oh, she must be looking at the Zoom screen, or I have this other camera. I don't know. How about over here? This is less backwards. Captain James T. Crypto said the Fed went ultra instinct. And that's right. This is pretty much when you have a hammer, all you got to do is use the hammer, right? Here we go. Chat back to normal. Money printer back to big.
Money printer go burr. So hasn't it risen now? It's like, did I see 9 trillion? It's like 9 trillion is now the full bailout package.
Well, I don't think anyone knows the full bailout package yet. I think the right now they agreed on 2 trillion. The estimate is 4 to 6 easy, right? And that's just the US. Like internationally, every country is pretty much going to have their own bailout in their own way. And it depends which parts of the economy you want to come back. So we've chosen our parts of the economy, and we'll see how that works out. It's a Hunger Games situation, but not quite as fair. I don't know. The Hunger Games seem fair now. that's what we're getting to.
It's definitely going that way.
At least they give you a bow and an arrow, and they let you loose in the jungle, and you get to fight. That seems like a fair deal.
But I think it'd do like a battle royale, Hunger Games, COVID combo.
Don't get me started on the George Carlin bit. He does this classic bit where he talks about all the different people that he'd like to not have around anymore because he's tired of them. And George Carlin talks about how you put them in different states, and he would fence off the states, and then he would let them fight. Looks like we got a phone call. Let's check this out. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Winston. I'm calling from Metro Atlanta area.
All right, Winston. What's on your mind about stimulus package, Bitcoin, coronavirus, anything that's going on? Yeah.
Well, a little bit of all of that actually.
Sure,
but the stimulus package, I'm curious. It seems like, there's so many questions. How's it developing and all of that? It's sounding to me like they're trying to, defer everything into like a tax return situation in the future, like a big circle jerk, something like that. What do you think about that?
Well, I definitely don't think this is a direct stimulus completely. Like Andrew Yang
Right.
just wanted to give people money. I like that plan. If it's like free sick leave or whatever, it doesn't really help me. I'm kind of a self-employed businessman here, so this doesn't really apply to me personally. A lot of these things. But generally, we need to save the whole economy. We need to save restaurants and travel and hotels and tourism and all these things. And I don't work for those companies or own them or benefit by them at all, but I understand the need to save them. So I think it's half and half. I think the Democrats were fighting for those smaller things. And while I don't know the details, let's see, it was saying, had something here. Maybe it was on the Twitter one. Where it had more details, and the details were basically saying that it was a mixture. So yeah, right here it says business loans
Right.
expanded unemployment insurance, and direct cash for many Americans. So it's all about the percentages of these, right? If we say there's three things, the mind actually assumes, there'll be 33% split, right? It'll be a third for each. But it's probably more like, if I had to guess, 70 to 90% business loans, 10% unemployment, 20% cash. I mean, it's not a people heavy deal. But we need to save the businesses. It's the same old theory that it would
It sounds like it may be kind of a slow flow situation. I'm just trying to do my part and help out any way I can. And,
this one's
if there's gonna be infinite cash, let's just hope number go up.
Well, let's get the infinite cash to the people first. I mean, even though everyone's afraid of hyperinflation and stuff.
I haven't seen any of it. So
that's right, and
it's gonna be a while.
If I had to advise you, I'd say don't hold your breath on this one. Like in a month or two, some people might get a check, but not everybody. Not me, not a lot of people.
Just hunkering down for now.
Yeah. Let's just eat that canned tuna. So
exactly. Oh, it's tastier by the day.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks so much for the call, man. Give us a call anytime.
Have a great one.
All right, and you can call us now or anytime during the show at 1-518-600-1949, right there at the bottom of the screen, or on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. Or if you're international, you can do 001. USA is the first number in the phone book because we invented the phone. So we put ourselves first. What else could you do? But Dan, what do you think? The $2 trillion package, obviously you're in England. You're not getting a check. Is Boris sending you any money? Can we hold out any hope?
It's a bit more. I think they've it's a bit more complicated because they've got they've now released what they're going to help the self-employed out with, which is I think 80% of the last 3 years income on average, so paid monthly. But then like that kind of doesn't help startups that for example haven't been making money. So I think there's the approach that Trump's taken, or the Trump administration, or the US in general, to avoid me getting in political hotspots about whose idea it was. But no, the $2,000 instant check I think is brilliant, and then $1,000 a month I think until the coronavirus is officially over, into a year after. And I think that's a great package. It's like it's a lot more. It's a lot more, like fair ubiquitously. I think everyone gets the same. It's all it's all nice and easy. Whereas the way the UK's done it, it's going to get pretty complicated by the sounds of it. And yeah, so I don't think that's fantastic. But even worse for the UK, apparently, is that Charles, the Prince of Wales. I was going to say the Prince of Darkness then. But Prince of Wales has got coronavirus, so it's even the royalty have been stung with it.
That's right. He's next in line to be king. Charles, the Prince of Wales, tested positive for novel coronavirus. Not good. Although they say, I mean, in all fairness, they say, whitelist ad blocker. They say that he was out meeting with the public. He was in public. He was not quarantining himself. So you can definitely say, like, if you're out in the public, like Prince Charles, you just might get the coronavirus. If you stay home like me, you probably won't get the coronavirus. But if you're out in public, you just might get the coronavirus. See, what's the printer guy? I don't know. They say they want to see the printer guy in the chat.
Oh, what the infinite guy or the?
Oh, there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
That guy we have on the buttons. I
imagine
know.
You're trying to persuade someone that something's useful. So the government obviously believes in the dollar. They want people to believe that the dollar's worth holding. Yet at the same time, they're saying to anyone that wants or is even considering holding the dollar, we've got infinite amounts of it. That literally makes your stash, your stash could have been that in compared to the normal amount, an infinite amount. I mean, you have infinitely. What that actually means is to people who hold the dollar is that your dollar is worth technically infinitely, as infinitely close to zero as possible. The more they keep printing it, it's crazy.
I think we could print a little bit more. Here we go. What? You'll fly us apart then. Still though, it's a crisis. It's what you got to do. It's what the thing is built on. It's what it's about. We still don't have the details on the deal. So I'm not sure that we're getting $2,000 a month for 12 months. We really just don't have the details. It's just now passed. They're going to be writing the articles about it. Then we're going to be reading the articles. I suppose maybe they have more instant details on Twitter maybe. Here's some instant details. Tim O'Brien, I've seen him on NBC. $250 billion in direct payments to individuals and families, $250 billion for unemployment, $500 billion distressed companies, $367 billion small businesses, $130 billion hospitals, $150 billion state and local governments. That seems like a lot. Does that add up to the full two? Let's see. Here's 500. There's 1,000. Plus about no. There's still a little bit missing, but that's a lot. And it doesn't say where's all the business money. Where's all the hotel money? Let's see. This bill is better off than it started, said Schumer, citing $130 billion for hospitals and healthcare workers. Let's see. Where's the other side? I want to hear the other side now. Olympics pushed back. You're up to date. Well, we're up to date. Good job, us. You've reached the end.
Nothing new to learn, Tom.
You've reached the end of the internet. Done. All right, let's move on. Thou hast spoken. Brr, we broke the money printer. Too many people are using the money printer right now. Could you guys stop going to this website? You're like over stressing it too much. Damn it, I left it on. Always remember to turn the money printer off before you leave. All right, let's keep going. What else do we got today? Virus. Talk about Bitcoin. How is Bitcoin coping? Oh, Bitcoin doesn't care about the virus. Bitcoin's completely inanimate object. Dan, how is Bitcoin coping with the virus? I know you've been in contact with Bitcoin recently.
Well, I had a chat with Bitcoin the other day, and it's just repeated the message that it's a fearless honey badger and doesn't give a fuck. So that's basically in short. But I saw Adam Back tweet today about the seeming decoupling from of Bitcoin from the stock markets and indices. So that should be interesting to see if that continues. I think that the recent money printing, combined with the fear of another recession, combined with the crazy memories of what happened during the 2007-2008 crisis, has probably started making people think a bit more about where they want to put their money. Be really interesting to see how many people get there if they do the $2,000 payout, for example. How much of that goes into Bitcoin? Because it would be cool if it just all goes whoop.
I don't know. I don't think people have extra money to really start investing and buying Bitcoin now. The same old story I always got when I told people years ago about Bitcoin. All my friends, everybody I know, they're always like, I don't have an extra $100 a month. I don't have an extra $200 a month. So given the nature of this crisis, I imagine that money's going directly to food or rent or anything else to make them forget this crisis, right? So it's pretty tight. I think it's going to get tighter. By the time this money gets here, it's going to be a month or 2 months till they get this rolling. So we'll see. Restaurants, businesses closing. People aren't that different from restaurants. They don't have that much more.
So I saw Cuomo. That's is it Cuomo?
Yep, Governor Cuomo. Yeah.
Yeah, Cuomo. Well, for some reason that reminds me of the name. I can't remember it though. The guy from Total Recall. Open your mind. What's his name?
Quado.
His name. Quano. Yeah, there you go. Quado. And yeah, so Cuomo though, he started trying, I think, blood plasma transfusions now. They've got their first patient. So I think that sounds like it could be pretty positive. They're at least trying different things all over the world. So, and they're going to have a lot of data to sort of, to meta analysis of all the data and hopefully come up with something that's either a cure or some really good easy therapy. But there's definitely, sounds like there's a lot of good cooperation coming on.
Yeah. I don't know if we have enough ventilators, but
well,
we'll
I think
see.
the thing is with it, if they can nail therapeutically, reducing the number of people that need ventilators, then that's definitely going to be a bonus.
Well, let's check it out. Let's see what's been going on in the news. Dan is bold, calling down the thunder. All right, yesterday I want to thank Mir for joining us on the show. Check out yesterday's show. We had an exclusive interview live from Italy. What is the lockdown like? How are they coping with the lockdown in Italy? Check it out with Mir yesterday right here on the show. Subscribe down below. Just ask everyone to give us a like. I didn't set up the like button. Let me see if people have been liking anyway. I'll go ahead and try to warm up the like button right here. Let's see. Oh, it's disappeared completely. Open Broadcaster is a unique experience every time. So let's see. Window capture. There's the window. It's there, but there's nothing. So, no like button, but I can see it's at 12, now 13. That's kind of cool. 13 likes. Let me see if I can keep it going. Tell me in the chat, should we fix the like button? Dan, what do you think? You pro like button?
I think the like button's got coronavirus.
It's come down. It's got a sickness. There we go. Look, it's a big giant window. First, you're going to need a big giant window. Ooh, it's got 16 likes. Everybody's figuring out. They're like, where's the like button on my application? Like, I never used it before, but I hear it's free. I want to give it a try. 45 people watching now. 18 people have liked this video. I hear that liking is free. That's what I've read. I've read that liking videos is free. It's a true story. Let's see. Tighten that up a little. Make it blend into the display.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. Oh, no. Behind the price too. Oh, look at that. That is styling. 46 people watching, 20 likes, and we started streaming 28 minutes ago. Checking out this graph. Where are we right now? Well, if you had a bunch of Venn diagrams, that's what these circles are called, and we were in between 1984, Fahrenheit 451, and Animal Farm. We were also in between Brave New World, Brazil, and A Handmaid's Tale. We were surrounded by Soylent Green, made of people, Logan's Run, Clockwork Orange, Lord of the Flies, Gattaca, and The Matrix. And you are here, right in the middle of all of these. So I think these would be good movies or books to check out right now while you're stuck at home. Just write these down, make a list from this diagram. And yes, having seen all of these and read a few of them too, this is a pretty tight spot of where we are in. So could go anyway. Probably an older tweet, but still solid. Fox News anchors fail to challenge Trump as he misleads during coronavirus town hall. It's just a dangerous place to get your information if you talk to this guy. He wants to reopen the countries, but the experts say loosening the restrictions now would be disastrous. Disastrous. They had a party in Kentucky, a bunch of young people. It was a coronavirus party, and one person at the party got sick. So it worked. Coronavirus party worked. They were mocking nature, and now they're sick. Crazy. So governors are rejecting President Trump's timeline for reopening the U.S. economy by mid-April, saying that the president has an imaginary clock. An imaginary clock. Trump wants churches packed for Easter and funerals. This is a news program for the sake of fair use. We're going to go ahead and sacrifice our ad rights Um,
You just reiterated
here it
that
is,
you
right
hope
here.
to have the country reopened by Easter. You said earlier you would like to see churches packed on that day.
Packed.
My question is, you have two doctors on stage with you. Have either of them told you that's a realistic timeline?
I think we're looking at a timeline. We're discussing it. We had a very good meeting today. If you add it all up, that's probably 9 days plus another 2.5 weeks. It's a period of time that's longer than the original 2 weeks. So we're going to look at it. We'll only do it if it's good, and maybe we do sections of the country. We do large sections of the country. That could be two. But no, we're very much in touch with Tony and with Deborah
Who
on
suggested
everything we're
Easter?
doing.
Who suggested
I
that
just thought it
date?
was a beautiful time.
It's a beautiful time.
It's a beautiful time. Springtime.
It's a beautiful time.
Like, I've got some stuff to sell you in the back of my trunk, and it's a beautiful time, and you look really pretty today. And she asks him, did you talk to any of the experts? He starts explaining how time works. He's like, 9 days is 2 weeks, is longer than 14 days. So we got, okay, time works. And then he's like, we're going to do it in stages in parts of the country. It's like, what about the experts? Let's go to Cuomo. Cuomo disagreed. There's this idea yesterday floating around, and it's still going around. We're going to talk about it more. That we should
flash him with all his supplies behind him as well.
Yeah, it's boss.
It's like he's got his toilet rolls, his masks.
He's prepared. But what Cuomo's about to say here, I'm pretty sure, is he's going to talk about yesterday's thing that we should just give up the older generation and just let them die for the economy. And we're going to talk more about this idea because, first of all, it wouldn't work because people just aren't going to go to work with piles of corpses outside. Everybody lost their grandmother, their teacher, their mentor, their professor, people that they know in their lives, people that they work with. They're all fucking dead. Get your ass back to Jamba Juice and start buying shit. Come on, start buying shit. So a lot of people are pushing back on this idea. Let's see what Governor Cuomo said.
The reason I've always said to New Yorkers, relax, is because this is not a major issue for 95, 96, 97, 98% of the population. It's only those vulnerable people, 1 or 2% of the population. This conversation about the economy, your question, blunt and jarring in its bluntness. Well, if we're only talking about 1 or 2% of the population, and they're old, and they're vulnerable, and they're sick anyway, well, then why stop the economy? How much are we paying for this 1 or 2%? They're old, they're vulnerable, they're going to die anyway. Why stop the train for the 1 or 2%? It's the same point that I've been saying on 98% of the people are going to be fine. Don't worry unless you're in that vulnerable category, and then take a high level of precaution. But we're not willing to sacrifice that 1 or 2%. We're not willing to do that. That is not who we are. It's not what we are. It's not what we believe. We are going to fight every way we can to save every life that we can. Because that's what I think it means to be an American. I know that's what it means to be a New Yorker. So I'm not going to leave any stone unturned until we can make sure everyone is protected. That's what I was trying to communicate by calling it Matilda's Law, right? That's why I gave it my mother's name. She didn't want me to give it her name. She's a little annoyed at me, but I wanted to personalize it for people. That's what we're talking. Yes, it's only 1 or 2%. Don't worry, go live your life. It's only 1 or 2%. But the 1 or 2% is Matilda and Sally and Jane and Sarah and your uncle and my uncle. And they are precious. And I'm not giving up. I am not giving up.
Pretty strong speech by Governor Cuomo there. What it means to be an
There's a
American.
difference it does seem like slight straw manning, though. It's like the, oh, well, we're by not doing X and Y, that's just saying we want people to die. I think this.
Well, no, I mean, if you got to watch the news, they've actually been saying this. Like, there's a guy, he's the lieutenant governor of Texas, and he's about 74, and he said that he would be willing to die to keep the economy running. And he also said that he would be willing to sacrifice, as well as himself, the rest of his generation. That they were, and they, this is part of their greatness, right? Let's celebrate the greatest generation. They fought in World War II, and let's let them all die for this virus, because we're afraid that the economy won't restart if we take a break. That's really what I mean. If we take a break from this whole economy thing that we do, and let the virus die down, let science get a chance to fight it, that the whole thing won't restart. So instead, we should just sacrifice all these people. And, there's more coming up here. We've got Brit Hume from Fox News. He's going to say that he's ready to die. We've got other volunteers. So it's not to say that there's not a death cult out there and there's not suicide passes available. And if you want to drink the Kool-Aid, they've got room for you. I personally don't agree with it. We're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about other reasons. We're going to talk about other groups of people that wanted to kill the elderly in the past. And we're going to make comparisons. As it says here.
Oh, you're not going to do the Nazi comparison, are you?
How can you not? My mother is not expendable, and your mother is not expendable. We're not going to put a dollar figure on human life. So
in that case, then I'd say that no one should be driving, because the risk of my mother walking out in the street and becoming, she's considered expendable because it's allowed that she could be put in a position where she should be. Yeah,
but this isn't really a time of hypothetical arguments. This is a time of actual virus. So given the actual virus and the way that it spreads, we had this British guy on the video talk yesterday. And what he says is your normal flu, you go back to work and you're like, fuck this shit. I don't care. I'm strong. I lift weights. Normal flu ain't going to stop me. I got stocks to trade. I got money to make, right? I don't care about grandmothers, Normal flu, you infect 10 to 12 people. All right, so your office, like an office full of people, which might be acceptable to you. Normal flu doesn't kill people. Normal flu takes you down for 2 or 3 days. If you're older, maybe it takes you down harder. But, we got business to do, right? Normal flu. What the guy said, that's like a 1.0. Now, this virus is more like a 3.0, right? So at a 3.0, if you go back to work with this virus and you're like, I don't care, whatever, it goes, instead of more like 111, it goes 333, right? So it's like 9, 27, 84, it just woo, 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 woo. So he said that this virus, if you went back to work and you spread it, you didn't care, you could infect 59,000 people because of the way that exponents work. So this exponentially growing virus, you could infect 59,000 people. So that's why we have to stay home. That's it. As Dan Trev says in the chat, and I don't know why it tried to hide it. He says, people forget why we invented government in the first place. It's because every few generations, shit like this happens, and the idiots run wild. You should definitely check out Idiocracy again. I did. It was great. I've still got Jaws to watch. I hope everybody watched Jaws, especially if you haven't seen Jaws before, because this is the Jaws situation. They need to reopen the beach. They need to save the town, the economy, the tourism. It's not working. We need to reopen the beach. And Jaws is still out there. Spoiler. Jaws is still out there. The virus is still out there. We're going to talk later about Bill Gates, who says you can't go back to work when you're surrounded by piles of bodies. You really can't. But this was a pretty good one. Let's go to this one. Let's change tactics a little. Adam Draper, son of the classic venture capitalist himself, making an Iron Man suit, says this is the scariest video he's seen in his life. He's dead serious. This is essentially the "we are effed and we know it" video. This is the FDIC telling you not to keep large sums of money at home.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
And Let's see what she says here.
Unprecedented
Again,
time.
this is for,
In
public
a time
service
of a
fair
pandemic
use
like this, it
video.
is way too easy to get confused and to have
Don't get
fear
confused.
about what you should be doing with your money in your accounts, especially as you're looking at the volatility in the stock market and the financial sector. This is what I would like you to take away from this. Your money is safe at the banks. The last thing you should be doing is pulling your money out of the banks now, thinking that it's going to be safer someplace else. You don't want to be walking around with large wads of cash, and you certainly don't want to be hoarding cash in your mattress. It didn't pan out well for so many people. And I will tell you this, no depositor has lost a penny of their insured deposits since 1933, when the FDIC was created. So
Everything till the
about
end.
having your money in a safe place,
So far.
please keep it in an FDIC insured bank.
All right, the banks,
Well-
invulnerable since 1933. I love that. That's just what they say about, like Silk Road and Sheep Marketplace and all these other things. They're like, it was great, right until it went down. Perfect, right until it went down.
Well, at least if if everything goes under, they can just print more money, so you'll never lose your money.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
An infinite amount of cash. That's a lot. That's more than zero.
I interviewed Adam Draper in 2017, and it was a Skype video, and I was a bit nervous because it was like the first interview I'd kind of done, and I was getting ready, so he said he was a bit late, so I was like, okay, cool. So I had a beer, and then I thought, well, I'll have another one because he was still really late. And I was running around in the background waiting for him to join, but didn't realize I had the thing on mute. And I had like a shirt, but like no trousers on. It was just boxers, and I was just running around with this beer, going, right, okay, psych yourself up, and yeah, turned it on, and I turned the sound on, and I was just like, oh shit, now I look crazy. But the interview went pretty well.
Classic poor Jennifer moment there. We all have those now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what is really bad though? I'm really, really annoying. I've just got because I'm really annoying and I can't help myself. But I just got the MacBook 2016 when I was in, when I left Utah in the US. I thought, oh, get nice, MacBook 16 inch,
Yeah.
and the keys are sticking already. I've got no end.
You can't.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I really, for the first time, I don't really like my laptop. It's not really a great situation. And I've had the keyboard replaced and upgraded. And I still don't really care for it. I've heard the new MacBook Air has the scissor keyboard again, the old one, death to butterfly keyboard. But no, I certainly not getting a new one now. And it sounds like you're
This has got scissor as well.
Sounds like you're sending yours back too. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does it have scissor? Or does it have
pretty sure, yeah.
butterflies? Butterflies.
Oh, maybe it was.
Oh, Rad Vladdy, you're so 5 minutes ago. We just showed the FDIC Twitter video right here. Right here. Don't keep your money in your mattress. You're so 5 minutes ago. But check out this awesome quote from Dr. Hunter S. Thompson. Obviously, it's an old quote. He says, "The real power in America is held by a fast emerging new oligarchy of pimps and preachers who see no need for democracy or fairness or even trees, except maybe the ones in their own yards. And they don't mind admitting it. They worship money and power and death." So get ready for that. Norm says that you're messing up your keys. Norm's quite an artist in the chat. We'll see how long that lasts. Oh, Rad Vladdy says there's a better FDIC video. Oh, I don't know. That one was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't,
There is an infinite amount of cash at the
infinite
Federal Reserve.
amount of cash. But let's see. He says Bitcoin lessons _ Let's see what's going on here. We're heading into Rad Vladdy territory. This better be good, Rad Vladdy. Sending us down the line. _ that's the hardest character to type on the keyboard. Looks like a minus. You have to push shift. Roger.
Think of the children.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
I don't see this anywhere. I don't know what he's talking about. FDIC. Nope. It's not in the first dozen tweets or whatever, man. You're not really providing valuable links. But everyone should like this show. It's not.
If there's an infinite amount of cash, then how come there's still like poverty in the US?
Oh, he says
I
it's the one
understand.
with
Crazy.
Roger Ver. Okay, there's a video with Roger and you want me to play it. We're going out on a limb, people. We're way out. We're way out now. Maybe we should buy some CHS.
I'm Roger Ver, longtime Bitcoin advocate and investor. Today I'm at the Mt. Gox World Headquarters in Tokyo, Japan. I had a nice chat with Mt. Gox CEO Mark Karpeles about their current situation. He showed me multiple bank statements as well as letters from banks and lawyers. I'm sure that all the current withdrawal problems at Mt. Gox are being caused by the traditional banking system, not because of a lack of liquidity at Mt. Gox. The traditional banking partners that Mt. Gox needs to work with are not able to keep up with the demands of the growing Bitcoin economy. The dozens of people that make up the Mt. Gox team are hard at work establishing additional banking partners that eventually will make dealing with Mt. Gox easier for all their customers around the world. For now, I hope everyone will continue working on Bitcoin projects that will help make the world a better place.
Keep it in an FDIC insured bank.
Dun dun dun.
So well timed as well.
That was pretty well timed. Oh, that was nice. We'll give that the old retweet, right? Get that on there.
When I watched the first one with the lady, I couldn't help but think of the follow up to that video after it's all gone, to shit creek without a paddle. Like the equivalent of the South Park when the BP guy is like going, "We're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry it collapsed, we're sorry."
Yeah, or the guy at the bank. I went to the bank in the South Park video game, and I had to try it out, so I gave him $20, and it was just like you'd expect. He was like, and it's gone. He's like, I'm gonna put it in some money market accounts, and I'm gonna move it around, and I'm gonna put 75% into here, and I'm gonna this and this and that and that, and it's gone. So there it goes. The money's gone. There he is, the evil turtle, the one who steals Supreme Court seats, the monster himself, Mitch McConnell. He's a bad, bad man. He's a bad, bad man. Let's see. Oh, did we go off our Twitter profile? Now we're going to lose our place. We'll never know what's happened. We'll never learn how to wash our hands and how to use oil. Did you know you can use motor oil to water your lawn? It's true. I saw it in Fight Club. Oh, see, look at this. Man, we almost missed stuff. Oh, we were at the Thompson quote. Okay, we're back on track. Okay, here's a creepy video. Let's talk about it first. Okay, each particle stays a set distance from one another. An infected particle is introduced, infecting all those around. With time, the infection fades, but not fast enough if the particles are too close. We increase the separation and the virus dies. Okay, so this is science. This is how science works. So here we go. Does that have sound? I don't know. I think it has sound. So here we go. Particles. Everybody. Whoa, we've got an infection. Hang on. Okay, we're spreading out. Oh, boy, we spread out a lot. A lot of infection still, though. Oh, it's bad. But look. Oh, we squeezed back. Oh, another infection. Time to spread out.
That just looks like they've got an infinite amount of points. They just keep on growing.
Well, it's because they're spreading out. They have more space.
I know. I'm joking.
Lebensraum.
It's a very good demonstration. I like the one with the not the matchsticks. The cops did on the car with dominoes. It's quite cool.
I haven't seen that yet. You should bring it up on your screen and we'll watch it. Is it on the Dan Twitter? Can we find it on cryptoraptor.com? At Cryptopoly?
I don't think maybe.
Rolando's reminding everyone to hit the like, you lazy at home staying bastards. There are 31 likes and 59 people watching now. That's 50%. You know what grade you get at school for that? That's an F. That's not even a D. We're not even talking about 60%. But I wanted to watch this video again. Twitter wouldn't let me. But check it out again. Here's all our particles. We're just hanging out, being particles. Oh, bad trouble. See, we used to have a donut. We used to have like space in the middle. Instead, we filled in the donut We filled the outside rims. We really spread out. And we stayed away from the sickness. And then it came back again. Sickness is strong. We just continue spreading out, though. Like, it barely touches the people. And look, we're continuing to spread out. And eventually we spread out enough and we stayed home and we beat the virus. There it is. Boom. However, we're not staying at home right now. March 24th, death curves. This is the city-by-city chart. What you're looking here is for your new entrants. You've got your old cities like Wuhan or Lombard or even Madrid in Spain. That's old news now. We're looking for some hot new challengers like New York City. Here's New York. I suppose it's the state, not the city, but still, New York State hitting it hard with 200 deaths, almost going straight up. As we can see, this line here is deaths doubling every day, and this other jagged line every 2 days, every 3 days, and every week, which would be almost flat. You can see California has a full stop. Everybody's staying home. They may be heading towards the every week curve. New York, no full stop. Not all staying home. They're heading towards death, doubling every day. That's the worst kind of doubling. Checking out nationwide statistics, we've got South Korea out ahead here, flattening the curve, doing a great job. China, way higher, but flattening the curve. Iran, maybe starting to flatten. Italy, also starting to flatten, but still very aggressive here. Let's check out our newcomers. France and Spain, charging up the hill. Spain, deaths doubling every 2 days. France, right in the middle, maybe 2.5 days. UK, right in the middle, 2.5 days. US, looking at that doubling every 3 days. Maybe even going to make a move up. We're seeing the US starting to pass Iran and China. The virus continues to win. Virus.
So Japan and South Korea, they're showing, some real strength in this outbreak. And, as we discussed before, I think when you're sick in Japan and South Korea, it's almost like your social responsibility to wear a mask so that you don't infect other people. So it seems like that everyone over there is a lot more happy about wearing a mask. I think it's going to become, it used to be quite alien to people in the UK, and I think it's going to become a lot more popular now.
I think so. We're starting to see it, hopefully, more and more people wearing masks. I think there's still kind of a shortage of them. But I wouldn't be surprised if we reach that point in between systems here that we could see a huge stock up. I think most Americans right now are probably thinking about stocking up for next time. And masks, crazy hazmat suits.
It'd be interesting to see how this impacts on the workplace in general. It's often in offices, especially in the city, you're in very tight sort of close knit areas. So will we see a kind of a plethora of new office supplies coming in, like, I don't know, cough shields or something like that? That'd be quite interesting.
There was something that's probably why Facebook has those masks, is after the California fires, a lot of businesses started stocking up on masks and rebreathers, things that were great for the fire, and as it turns out, great for fighting the virus too. We've now seen a lot of companies showing up at hospitals and donating their excess stocks. And next time, I think we should have twice as many stocks. I mean, I think we're just going to have a lot more stocking up of everything. I think we're going to have a lot more social anxiety and fear about infections. I think seeing these Purell things at the front of restaurants and so on and so forth may be more and more a normal thing. No one wanting to eat without the strange smell of hand sanitizer coming off their hands. I don't know. It's going to be pretty tight out there. We'll have to see how it goes. But we've got some good news in the middle of all this. It was tough to say if it was a real story or the Onion or something. But at JWZ, classic interneter, helped invent Netscape, writes, John Carpenter announces release dates for, this is shocking, They Live sequels. They laugh and they love. As JWZ says, believe it or not, They Live was always my most spiritual film, and these long-awaited sequels will make that clear, the 72-year-old director John Carpenter said. For those of you who don't know or haven't checked it out, They Live is a classic, low-budget, kind of a sci-fi horror movie, I'd think. And, I mean, the main conceit, I don't want to give it away too much, but Roddy Piper, this wrestler who's in the film, there's a major wrestling scene in the film, finds some magic glasses and suddenly can see that some of the people around him are not people. So, great movie. Check out They Live. Unbelievable to think that they would be having sequels. I don't think Rowdy Piper will be in them, although it would be awesome if they found a way to have him have a little cameo or something.
One hell of a mullet. You'd want that back.
Oh, it's great. Total classic.
Beautiful.
And this is also, as I look at it now, I remember more. I think this is the basis for the Duke Nukem character. Everybody who liked Duke Nukem, and if you like shoot 'em ups in general on the PC, the style of it, this is where, I've got to kick ass and chew bubble gum, but I'm all out of gum. Like, classic line. Like, I mean, and he just nails it. I mean, we watch him, and this is a wrestler. He's acting the best he can. Yeah, check out They Live.
Duke Nukem was like the first game where you could visit a stripper or something, wasn't it?
Absolutely. You could reach up with $1 and then they dance for you and so on. And I just watched, I think it was Grand Theft Auto 5, and you can pick up Ladies of the Night. And wow, it's gotten pretty darn explicit. It used to be that like the car shook, but now there's like much more than the car shaking. So yeah, they're getting there. They're getting real close to it. And it was also interesting playing Grand Theft Auto 5, or even I've been playing the old South Park Stick of Truth on the video games. Is that video games curse now? There's tons of F words all over video games. So. And sometimes that makes it more real. Like if you try to hit somebody with a car and they say F you, that seems more accurate. Like that makes more sense. As the South Park kids, though, they're just filthy. So, and that's fun too, though. So I don't know. I'll check it out. We had I don't know if we'll get to it, but I have a topic here on Twitter for video games. Dan, is there anything you've been playing during the virus? I know you always claim you don't have time to play video games, but you do own a PS4. So have you played any, even a game in this whole
I went
quarantine?
to go and play Call of Duty the other day.
There you go.
The new one, Modern Warfare. But it needed the update, and then by the time that happened, I was like, oh, I can't.
See, I hate playing the update game. It's the forced. I don't like the forced update game or the forced restart the system game. Yeah, those are bummer games. I never used to have those on cartridges. You just put the cartridge in.
No.
But
COD it's a great game. But my favorite, there used to be one called like one of the not maps, but the types of game, like Domination or whatever, and it was called Sticks and Stones, and it was my favorite by far. It was just, you had a crossbow and an explosive crossbow or throwing knives, and it was just chaos of people getting massive long shots with flick knives and stuff, and it was awesome. But yeah, they haven't continued that, I think, since Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or something. So, but that's the only game I have. I think we've got like Crash Bandicoot. That's a pretty cool game for like Crash Bandicoot Racing. But I need to play more. And even though I've been quarantined technically since I left full-time work, so this quarantine thing's been really easy to get used to because I've been living it for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I know. I was planning on kind of keeping up this quarantine. I was like, this is more of a lifestyle change I could get used to, because I stay home most of the time anyway. It's just now it feels a little different because you're like forced to stay home. Like it has that forced feeling to it. So
yeah, I think that's what's hard about like trying to get my parents to stay in, is their generation. I'll say their generation, retirees, they've worked and yada yada yada. Now they finally got their time, and they're like, cool, I've got my time. I can go and do whatever. So trying to get those guys to stay in, that's why it's such a nightmare, because they're suddenly like, they're almost like, they've suddenly hit full freedom from being obligated to work or obligated to do anything whatsoever. And now they're being told to stay in, and they're like, well, yeah.
Well, it's a generational thing, right? You were talking on Twitter how you had to convince your parents to stay home. I'm trying to convince mine to stay home, and even yesterday we talked to Mir, who's in Italy, who's kind of in the middle of this thing, And she's saying, yeah, she has to convince her parents to stay home. They had the same thing you're saying, Dan, that, they've lived their lives. They're in charge now. They've been the boss for so long, like they're not used to us bossing them around. They're not used to the government bossing around, anything like that. And they're not going to take it, right? They're ready to go out. And that's what part of this kind of hysteria about trying to open the country before it's ready is about, is that people just can't stay home. They're bored. Like, I know, my dad can't stay home. He's not, he can't stand in lines. Like, he's, busy. But this is the time where, and I've seen a lot of great memes about this and all kinds of jokes and stuff where it's like, you've been training your whole life to sit on the couch and do nothing. Now the country is calling on you to stay home and do nothing. So, do it. You guys, this is our chance. Let's see what they're saying in the chat. I think we've got some gamers going on here. So let me go back and get some recommendations because I'm always looking for new games.
Like a popular one.
Here we go.
The dinosaur one on N64. That was sick.
Dan's buddy says, check out Witcher, the game, not the Netflix movie. He says he loved Witcher. They're talking about Skyrim. Witcher was better than Skyrim. Combat's wonky, AR says. Let me see. Oh, I should bring the chat up. Let's see. Watch this. Chat. Whoa, you're huge, chat. Look at your hugeness. I'll put you like right here. Look at that, chat. You're like a part of everything. All right, so there's like a giant chat floating in the middle of the screen now. People are going to like that. Let's see. Martin has been playing Planetscape Torment. I don't know that one. Sounds interesting. Ernest says you should go to Open Bazaar. I'm not sure what for. Norm's big into Witcher. Martin says Turok. Doom Eternal. That sounds interesting. I've seen that one on the Switch. I think it's like maybe $10-15. That sounds good to me.
Wasn't it like the 25th anniversary of Doom last year?
They've definitely been driving by me on the Switch trying to get me to buy them all. I think I bought Doom 1 for like $5. They want 10 for Doom 2, and then they had Doom 3, and I didn't play Doom 1 on the Switch. I played it a zillion years ago on my keyboard. I don't know. But that's neat if there's a new one that's good. Horizon Zero Dawn Ultimate Edition, Norm says.
Orlando, I heard it was in Italy that they were giving out the free premium porn hubs, but is that Europe as well? The whole of Europe or UK? Hashtag asking for only friend.
Yeah, friend asking.
Very lonely.
Let's see. AR says Mount and Blade Banner Lord comes out in 5 days, so he's got plans. They say if you like Turok, you're going to love Horizon Zero Dawn. $15. Sounds like a good deal. Let's see. We're still kind of catching up to the chat. So if I haven't read your comment yet, go ahead and put your comment down below. We'll get to it. Let's see. Horizon was good. You can get it for $5 right now. It's nice to see a lot of sales on these games, especially since everyone's stuck home. I think that's a synergy. That's like, they want to sell you games. You want to buy games. It works out. I know my favorite game on the Switch, unfortunately, is buying games in the Nintendo game market. I don't have time to play them that much, but I love to buy them. So let's see. Thomas is worried.
I used to go through like Steam on a weekly basis and I'd look at the $5 games and $10 games and be like, oh, I remember that. I'm going to buy this. And then one day I'm going to sit and play it. And what? A week into, or however much into quarantine, a bit from self-quarantining anyway, or isolating, paid nothing. Still got these games, and I'm still sat there looking at Steam going, yeah, I'd buy that. And then going, maybe I should. And no, I've got to stop doing it. I'm going to have to go through my back archive. Max Payne was one of the games that I never finished. It was just, an epic game. So I might finish that off.
Oh, yeah, I think I played Max Payne. That was a good one. That was like a Matrix, and you had superpowers and stuff. I definitely played that. I don't know if I finished it either, but yeah, I've been trying to finish up some games, trying to get my playtime in. I think a lot of them, it's good if if it's a short game. Like I play a lot of arcade games and shoot 'em ups and things like that, where you're only going to play 2 minutes anyway. What's good with those is to kind of play like in a run because of the beauty of the Switch, and I guess the PS4 would be the same way if you download games. is you don't have to get up and put a cartridge in. You don't have to put a disc in. Right? That's pretty fun. So you can like play it, die, play it, die, play it, die. You know, play each one 10 minutes till you die. That'd be a good one. But then there's other games like, say, a Final Fantasy or a Zelda or something where, you know, you could play 7 hours a day and still not make progress for it. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with all these games. I don't know what to do with all the books or even all the movies. Everyone's talking about, yes, it's quarantine. It's time to watch your library. Blu-rays are cheap. I go to that. I'm not supposed to, but sometimes I go to that store where they have all the cheap Blu-rays. You can get, I don't know, 3 for $10 or something. And you think to yourself, wow, this is really high quality. It's a really great movie. A lot of people worked on it. It was very hard to make. I'm buying it for $3. I could put it on a shelf. But then after it sits there on a shelf for like 2 years, you haven't watched it. What's the point? So I don't know. Now's your time to play your games. They say free Pornhub Premium in the EU. So Rolando's busy. Don't call him. Dan says isolation's great for games. I definitely agree with that. I've been working through Stick of Truth on the South Park game on the Switch. I set it down to the lowest level because I don't care that much about the combat. I want to hear the story and the jokes, and you know, it's an adventure game, so I'm walking from store to store trying to find things. And South Park is such easy animation for a computer. It looks perfect. You know, I mean, they wobble and they bubble, and all the voices are perfect, and I'm enjoying it. And I think, although I've started to remember it, so I think I'm getting to back as far as I used to be in it. And I'm probably going to get to the point where I was stuck or whatever before, but I'm hoping to surmount that. I'm willing to look up on the internet directions if I get stuck. It's always something simple like switch to this character. And I was like, oh, I didn't think of that. And it would have taken me 4 hours like sitting there puzzling it. But we've got the internet now. I'm going to just cheat. As a real video gamer, I know that's cheating, but I'm just going to cheat now. I just want the story.
I used to love playing Skyrim. But I got to the end of it and thought, I reckon I could have saved out of my 100, 200 hours gameplay, that I could have saved like 95% of it if I'd have just switched off the thing that says you can't carry more than X. Because the amount of times, for some reason, I thought it was totally okay to waste an hour like slaying a bloody dragon and then walking really slowly for some place to sell the damn stuff and then walking all the way back. And then I got to the end and I was like, I literally saved like 55, 60 hours of my life plus just from doing that easy, maybe even more, 90%.
There's a lot of games. There's a lot of games where that's the whole game. And I just can't play it. I start to realize I've figured it out. And the same thing, I loved Doom and Quake and things like that, Half-Life. But then they started to be the same. It's like a new first-person shooter, new bunch of weapons, new bunch of maps. I still have, again, I have games I haven't played. I've got that new World War II Call of Duty game, not the old one. And I really want to play that because I didn't play the early Call of Duties. So everybody's bored to hell with World War II by now. But I still think it would be really fun to play that beach and everything. So I want to check that out. But again, when am I going to have the time to really sit down and focus? And then you have to focus till you get good at it. Then when you get good at it, then you're in it. And then you have to keep playing it. And then, 20, 30 hours later, I'm supposed to make graphics for the show or something, So, but we're stuck at home right now. Rolando says Witcher has a great story. You could check that out for the story. Sounds cool. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Catan. I play Catan, Norm. I'll kick your butt at Catan.
What's the train game called as well? There's a train game.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't play it, so I don't know the name. But yeah, it's definitely one of those Catan, Carcassonne, and the train game, and then some of these other ones. There's a lot of good tile-based board games where when you lay the tiles out, the board is different every time. Whereas Monopoly, you always play on the same board, but Catan, it's always a different board. Same thing, Carcassonne. Is it Ticket to Ride? Is that the board game?
Ticket to Ride.
Oh, don't even play it. It's still in there somewhere. Like that's amazing. Like people don't I'm not. Oh, does the producer tell you that in your ear? No, there's no producer here. That's just like a library in there. But
you reminded me. I've got the millennials edition of Monopoly, and it's like social justice warrior type stuff, and it's quite
oh, really? You got that?
I haven't played it yet. So
I've heard about it. Yeah, it's the one where you don't even have money. You have like vouchers or something. You don't pay rent. You like live in someone's apartment, or it's like Airbnb. It's like no one can purchase houses in the future because it doesn't make sense to people anymore, like owning property. They're like, that's beyond us. Yeah, I've heard of that version. That's an interesting version of Monopoly. The other interesting one I thought was when they replaced all the money with credit cards. It was the credit card Monopoly, and teachers have always, lauded Monopoly because it is, the rent game, as it's called originally, the mortgage game. It is kind of a way for kids to learn how to budget their money and how to spend money, and it's kind of a math game. You have to count the money and stuff. But switching it to the credit card really took all of that out of it. It was, I don't think they made very many more versions of that, but there is, I think there's a version of that, or it's actually the Barbie credit card machine that's in the British Museum. It's pretty cool. I have a picture of it. So maybe
my watch has just told me that it's asked me whether I would like to continue my workout. So now obviously I'm so quarantined that talking on YouTube is a workout. It just made me feel really lame.
It's been a lot of changes in your heartbeat lately, sir, as you sit at your desk watching YouTube. So let's keep going through the chat.
Games.
Go ahead, Dan.
There's some cool games that you can play as well. That like we played them at having friends over for small pies or dinner pies or whatever, and like you put this quiz on the TV and everyone can kind of join in. But there's ones where you can do that over the network as well. So I think hopefully in a couple of days we're doing a kind of games night, but over the internet with sort of all of our local friends.
That sounds fun. I've heard of a lot of those like happy hours. People are getting together on Zoom and hanging out with their friends because people are starting to miss, social situations and reality and all that. Not me, obviously.
No, you're definitely not.
Computer geek holding strong here. I just keep reading my books and stuff. Silent Lamb says Star Citizen is a great eye candy and a chilled out great space sim in the making. I think that's the one my friend has been into for like 4 years, Star Citizen, and I'm not sure if they ever finished it or if they've made it fun yet. It reminds me of No Man's Sky. Which again I need to play again because they've made another huge update too. But I tried playing before and it's got all the things you think you'd want. You land on a planet, you walk around, mine some stuff, you take off in your spaceship, you can fly to other places, there's aliens, but there's just not a game. Like they made all of these aspects of things you can do, but they don't connect it together. It doesn't spur you on to do the next thing, and far too many times I end up stuck somewhere on a planet with no fuel, or just stuck somewhere not knowing what to do next. And everything takes hours and hours and hours. So it could definitely take up your whole life. So I don't know about No Man's Sky. Star Citizen sounds good.
I think it's got to be my favorite game of all time. And I still play it now. It's like the one game I'll go back to. And it's Transport Tycoon Deluxe. It's just like so cool. It's amazing. And you can get like OpenTTD. So you've obviously the resolution of say a MacBook Pro now's near 4K or whatever. So they've open sourced it, scaled it up. So you've got like thousands of trains running on this thing, and these maps that are just so big they take like 5 minutes to navigate from one end to the other. So that's quite cool. Kind of grabbing some retro games and smashing those through. Like Theme Hospital is another one's cool. I like that.
Might be fun to play a trivia game right here sometime. We'll do some online world crypto trivia. I tried some video game broadcasting the other day. It didn't really work that well. We went into Twitch and stuff, tried to play Tetris. Looks like we've got 37 people liking us. Thanks so much for liking. Still 48 people hanging on and watching, but I think they're starting to get bored with video games. I'm getting that feeling. They say check out Light Night, the Lightning game, Dwarf Fortress. $5 for Horizon is a good deal, Norm says. More votes for Doom Eternal. I might have to watch a preview video of that, see what's going on. Catan is great. All right, people are into Catan. I had a great time last time I was in Barcelona. I had some friends there that actually played Catan, and I was psyched. We got to play. And so many times I play Catan where I just teach people. So it's not very fun. I don't really get competition, but these people already knew how to play, so that was great. They can make up their own strategies. Roller Dude has hundreds of games on his to-beat list. It's time to get started. We got to go to work. Ernest says he found a couple of games that he hadn't heard of, so that's good. Check it out. Dan says he's playing Brutal Sports Series football on the Amiga 500. What?
Oh, that was sick. It's so good. It's like an American football mixed with normal football. So you got like normal football goals, which are just, sort of inset into the wall. And you can pick up shields and swords, and you can chop off people's heads and then score with their heads. It's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, it's very brutal, and I probably shouldn't have been playing it as like a 9-year-old or 10-year-old, but it was still very fun, and I haven't killed anyone yet.
I was a big fan of Mutant League football back on the Sega Genesis. That was a good one. Checking it out. Roller Dude also has thousands of movies to watch. We all need to get to work. I think a movie a day in the evening, not a bad idea, and maybe an hour of video game playing. Maybe just time it out, sit down, and it makes it more like work, but everything's like work. I don't know. That's the part of the problem with playing video games is I feel like I'm goofing off, and to some degree, even reading books, to some degree, even watching movies. I mean, but we're kind of forced to be at home. I don't know. You have to mix it up, have some kind of like moderation with the things. Let's see. Martin says you need an imagination to play these games. Magic the Gathering matches on Zoom. That'd be fun, although all my cards are super old. But they do have that new like online Magic the Gathering. I guess that's what all the kids play these days. Let's see. He only played EDH. He has loads of EDH decks. I don't know what that is. Roller Dude's even more busy with work. He can't play all the video games and the stack of movies. Silent Lamb says check out Leisure Suit Larry. That's a classic. I think they made a new Leisure Suit Larry. I think somebody bought the license or something. So maybe that's good.Maybe it's fun. The classic one. Oh, there's no gamers where he lives. I know it's stretching time. I think we're over an hour here. So we're going to have to do the stand-up desk stretching time. They say Boris Johnson's going live. Exciting stuff. Bojo speech. Maybe we should get the link for that. Check out see how the UK is faring. Hey. But yeah, it's still trying to work the computer and have this camera thing going. Oh, I should just switch to one of the other cameras. There we go. Oh, no. Not very good either. How about over there? Oh, yeah, that one. That one's solid. All right. I'm alive. Almost. They're discussing the particular of the CARES Act on the floor. Excellent. We're probably just going to catch a summary article later on when they have more information on the $2 trillion stimulus. We discussed a little bit about what some of the categories are. There were some breakdowns on Twitter of how many billions for each category. Norm recommends Cosmic Encounter. AR is into those building games like Dan plays. He plays City Skyline and Planet Zoo. Have you checked those out, Dan?
Yeah, they're cool. I've played City Skyline before, and there was Sim Tower. That was one I mentioned in the chat. Love that game. Kind of real basic. You just build a tower as high as possible. I like the building games. I think I like the things that I had to plan and I had to make money and constructive stuff. And obviously, of course, like Red Alert. Like Red Alert was just a classic, and they were like the first time. They're the first time that they'd mixed like movies really into or at least video into the gameplay, with actors acting the story and like the general and stuff like that, and Tanya shake it baby, and I think that's
a funny story. The guy who played Kane, he actually worked on the video game. He was like in charge of like production. So yeah, they used just normal not even actors the first time. And nice. What was great about that too, there's a series on YouTube now. We've gotten so old where they're basically doing documentaries about our favorite games. So there's a Command & Conquer like documentary where the guy talks about early versions of the game and things that they did to try to improve it. Very cool. Check those out. I think they're called War Stories. They're on one of like the big channels, like something like Ars Technica or somebody like that is doing them. And they've just been dynamite. So I've been checking those out on the YouTubes.
On the YouTube.
Oh, that's not the right camera. I got a lot of windows open. Do you have a lot of windows open? I always have this problem. Too many windows.
I've been trimming. I like to keep mine trimmed.
Yeah, close those tabs.
Efficient.
Save that memory. Hold that memory. There we go. That is the camera. Now I can stand up. Let's see. Other building games. Martin says there are ships in Star Citizen that cost over $100,000. So it's definitely the game I'm thinking of. A friend of mine was involved in the Kickstarter years ago. He was buying his ship, and I was mocking him for buying his ship. And they recorded all the voices. They had all kinds of celebrities. It's been so long ago, you might not even consider them celebrities now. I sure hope they didn't hire Kevin Spacey. That would be a whoopsie. But yeah, Star Citizen, classic, will it ever come out game. So I guess it's out now. So that sounds cool. AR says, anyone remember the old text MUDs, multiple user dungeons? I used to play in a mush. It was like MUDs were about fighting creatures and things. Mushes were more about talking and story role playing. Classic text adventures. What was great about that, you could telnet in. You could talk to other people all over the world. It was kind of like this show, which, by the way, you can call into. We could have one more window and just bring you in on the call-in. I'm going to stretch out, try to catch the chat here, but you could call us now at 1-518-600-1949 or Skype at World Crypto Network. What do you think of the stimulus package? What's your favorite old game? Have you been playing anything this week? We're checking it out. Norm says his parents want to play Catan. That's excellent. Good to have something that you can do that's competitive, that's smart. Too many times.
Have you played Cards Against Humanity with your parents? Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah. No, never again. Stupid.
Oh, it's brilliant. We even got the expansion pack. I can't. It's something even. It's like even worse. It's like Crimes Against Humanity, or something like that. And it's the most awful stuff. But like we're sat there like having a few drinks at Christmas and families playing a game, and suddenly my dad just wouldn't be able to control himself and would just start crying with laughter. and then obviously have to read it out. And oh my word, some of those moments. I was reminded of that because I suddenly thought about the guy that tweeted because he's quarantined with his like elderly parents, and there's just a video of him watching some sort of hardcore sex scene in the middle of a film, and his parents just sort of happily watching away, and he's like, "World, eat me now, please."
I saw that. That was a great video that went viral. Yeah, that was a cool one. Norm says that he'll beat me in Catan. Oh yeah, bring it on. Actually, we could probably somehow live stream a Catan game. I think it would be really boring though. Like it's a lot of dice rolling. Like I still don't really understand the whole watch other people play video games thing. Most of the time, like when I play video games, it's like me dying over and over again and cursing and like throwing the controller and smashing it and stuff. Like I'm not going to let them watch that, and no one's going to want to watch it, I wouldn't think. I guess they watch these guys who are really good at video games. Norm says there's a Spartacus board game, and these people are going to try to play each other on Magic. There's not really a good online Catan that I know of. Yeah, Norm says, yeah, you have to talk to people. You have to manipulate. You have to trade. So yes, to do the Catan. I think we're catching up on the chat. Let's see. Time for a type 1 civilization lifestyle. 10 push-ups live now. That's a hard game, especially in a suit. Norm thinks the UK will sort it out. US will be number 1 in 7 days. Absolutely fucked. Yeah, true that. Push-ups, jumping jacks. Yeah, we have to do all the classic stretching. Let's see. Rolando says Tanya was hot as hell and I was a young boy. Thinking back to Command and Conquer. Dun 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 dun.
Mrs. Robinson.
GDI and Nod. The Kingdom of Nod. Yeah, I love the lightning, the obelisks of death.
Whoa! We've just had a massive pump in this count. Italy's just submitted, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's 20,494.
Say oh for good things, Dan.
Oh, I mean, what should bad then be? So, is good. What's bad?
Looking for more like the price to be good or something. We have 5,000 new cases, 75,000. What's interesting here is it's looking at it. Oh, I don't have the graphics up. Let's go to the other screen. Hey, that's a nice tie. Let's see. Camera. Boom. Now we have options. 74,386 cases, at least according to Worldometers. 7,503 deaths. What's interesting there is it looks to me pretty obviously is at about a 10% mortality rate. This is much, much worse than anything we saw out of China. Seems pretty obvious.
Think how many people don't get tested though? Like if you think about it, the deaths is
we can think about other numbers, but the numbers that we have right here show 10%. I mean, like we can imagine any number we want, but the actual, what we've been able to get without perfect testing, without perfect numbers, is averaging out to about 10%, which is why I think everyone's questioning these China numbers. When you look at the China numbers, it's not quite what it is, 20 million canceled cell phones. Everyone's worried about the cell phone number, which I agree is scary. But it does seem a lot more like 8,000 dead. If you look at China having 81,000 cases and only having 3,000 dead, that doesn't quite square, because when we look Italy, 74 to 7.5 thousand. USA actually looking low. If we're judging by this, it should be up around 6,000. Spain, 47,000 infected, 3,400 cases. So again, a lot closer, more 90% or whatever, not 10%, 9%. But Germany, same thing. The death number looks very low. Iran, 27,000, about 2,000 dead. I mean, it's not perfectly 10%, but it's really close. So yeah, I think we're seeing a 10% mortality rate. So
I think what Norm's made a good point actually, Mr. Normski, which is that what people aren't really talking about is that when you look at the top countries, it's all countries that have a seemingly good health system. So either there's more craziness going on in the scenes, or it's literally just the fact that those are the countries that, because they've got an well together health system, that they're actually recording the deaths and trying to be more proactive about the numbers. But I read a lot that there's a lot of links to population density, and actually Italy's more densely populated than China. And I think when we were looking at the stats the other day, actually, that for example, Malta is I think it's the 5th most densely populated, and up there is Vatican City, etc. And what we're not seeing now is such a massive correlation between the population density and the number of cases and deaths. So, for example, although Malta is currently quite low at the moment, considering it's very densely populated. So I don't know. The numbers are very difficult to kind of view, because there's so many variables that I think would change them a lot. Like, for example, if you're not even remotely ill, or you are ill, sorry, but you're not you just get on with it, then you wouldn't have gone to hospital and you wouldn't have got tested. And that's a lot of people that would probably be not being tested in Italy, that would bring that mortality rate down from the 10% that it is now.
We're also seeing a shocking report in the chat. Jeremy says that the Doom guy is only killing demons in revenge for them killing his pet bunny named Daisy. He doesn't care at all about saving the human race. So this is a pretty shocking turn, because in Doom, originally at least, you were kind of accidentally beamed through a portal to Mars, or a moon base, or a Mars base, something like that. Then eventually you went through another portal and you were in hell, killing demons. And there was never really an explanation for why the guy wanted to kill all these demons. I mean, when they were on the other side of the portal, it made sense. But then I suppose he was just going to kill the anti-massive demon. But sounds pretty shocking. People might have to check out this new Doom game.
Can we check? Sorry, because Jeremy's reminded me of not yesterday, the day before yesterday, the video of the mayors being like, "I'm a flamethrower you."
I'm a flamethrower you.
You.
We played that. We got to go forward through the news. We can't go backwards.
Okay.
But yeah, if you have it, you can bring it up on your thing, Danny. You can probably share the audio. At least we could try, see if it worked. Because
I've got to be careful because sticky keyboard issue.
They're all saying that you have a sticky keyboard because it's your own problem. They're saying that's it.
I blame the apples.
Yeah, it's a PBAC problem, a human problem. They're saying ginger is very good. Everyone's saying to chew ginger in the chat. Bowl of Bitcoin writes, a family friend just passed away from coronavirus, only 28 for fuck's sake, and had no underlying health issues. So be careful out there. It does affect everyone differently. Andrew Cuomo said to the Trump administration that you should pick the 26,000 people who are going to die. And
doesn't he mean 29,600? Didn't he say there's 30,000 and they have 400?
Well, no, that's the ventilator issues. But yeah, I think that this is the people who won't get the ventilators, and that maybe we should have Trump come in and pick the people, just like they said Obama was going to run those death panels years ago. It sounds like we actually have a need and a use for a death panel. A top public health expert says lifting coronavirus restrictions now could kill millions. So I suppose if you were in a competition with people like Chairman Mao or Stalin, and you were saying who's killed the most of their own citizens, and you're saying, I want a hand in that, like I want to play. As everyone knows, classically, they had this problem in China. The sparrows were eating the crops. So Chairman Mao said, well, we have to have crops to feed our people. So everyone stop what you're doing, and whenever you see the sparrows, go outside and bang these two pots together to scare the sparrows. And they would make the sparrows fly around and around. They could never land, and then the sparrows would drop dead because they couldn't land because everyone was banging pots together. But the problem was, while everyone was banging pots together, scaring the sparrows, nobody was minding the crops. And the crop failures led to millions of dead at the hands of Mao, the largest killer of his own people in the world. But apparently, we're going to be trying to compete with that. We're going to be packing the churches for April.
Just an observation, quick observation.
We're number one. We can do it. We can do it.
It is from the HuffPost. And not, I usually crap on sources.
Well, but the experts from Johns Hopkins University.
HuffPost generally, of course.
The way that the press works is they go somewhere and they put a microphone in front of their face and they quote what they say. So if it's a baseball player, he says, "I'm proud to play for the team. I'm here to represent the Argonauts."
News of the left. It's like a
Johns Hopkins University. So I mean, they go to the doctor and they hold up the thing, and the doctor says that if all these people got infected and they all go back to work, that it could kill more people. So if you're saying if we're going to kill more, we're going to kill less, our actions are going to kill more. So if you took that Hippocratic oath, first do no harm, well, you'd be a doctor, and the president's not a doctor, so he didn't take that oath. So maybe he doesn't really care about, first do no harm. Maybe he's more like first save the economy. So, we're going to save that economy. Like that economy is going to be fine. It's, it's grandma's that's going to take it. It's the old professors. It's the old sources of knowledge. But, never mind. It's like a liberal joke. Oh, here's a controversial tweet. Let's get into some trouble right here. Derek Sheen writes, Trump supporters, stop calling us Nazis. Also Trump supporters, the elderly, invalid, and weak are non-essential and should be sacrificed for the good of the nation. See how it works?
There's a lot of talking of crops and stuff. There's a lot of straw men I'm seeing around in all these places. It's very easy to take something and I'm not saying I support what Trump or what, I think the fact of the matter is that, this is a very serious virus, but just, the idea that everything that's said has to be just blown up and, it's death to everyone then, it's just really not constructive, I don't know. Do you not think that the kind of the crazy comparisons to the most evil dictator on earth that mutilated people is the same as saying maybe we need to think about the impact on what the economy,
I've watched what they say on the TV shows,
the Great Depression.
and I think it's a pretty much a 1-to-1. I think we're dancing around it. And I watched that show, The Man in the High Castle. So you really have, if you watch that show, you have kind of an immersion of what a Nazi civilization would be like. And it's very nice on the outside. Everyone's wearing suits and it's very finely dressed and everything's fine. And then they say, oh, well, your cousin, they came down with a little bit of the being Jewish. So then the cousin goes to this little room somewhere and they gas him and they take him away and there's no more cousin. So I think that what we're talking about here when they're saying that these people are old, so it's okay if they die, or they're saying these people are sick, so it's okay if they die. It's just a profoundly inhuman attitude. And when we look for other examples of people who had inhuman attitudes, people who didn't value human life, which is something as a society we've decided that we value human life. We have things like fire engines and trucks and police stations to help people. We have social security programs and safety programs and welfare and other things. We have a society where we decided we valued human life. Now, we've hit a road bump. We've hit a tough part in the road. Now, in a lot of other societies, when they hit tough parts in the road, they abandoned their principles, right? The Athenians had to become the Spartans to fight them. The Athenians had to become the Persians to fight them. Like, we had to become barbarians to save ourselves from barbarism. So this is a big moment for us. So we decide if we stick with our values, that we like human life and we want to save people and we want to do the best we can. That's one side. Now, the other side is this slippery slope towards, if you're not useful, you're not worth living. Now, unfortunately for that side, the main proponents of that side were in Germany in the 1930s and the 1940s. And it really isn't that long ago. Like, we have records of this and we have studies and books and so forth. We can read about it. Now, it's become, you can't discuss it, because it's a no discussion area. But if you want to look for the doctors, and again, I said John Hopkins is a great place. You have to consider your sources. Well, if you want to talk to Nazi doctors, you can get a lot of Nazi doctors who will tell you, and I'll pull up the quotes if you want. It gets really sick. They'll tell you how good it is to get rid of the old and the infirm, and what a good thing they're doing for our society. Well, no, I mean, this is really.
Said that though, or is it?
They've pretty much said that the older generation, you should fend for yourself. And that, you should fend for yourself against this amazing virus. Like, we have all the scientists, we have all the things. They say stay home. But we can't stay home. We need to save the economy. So you should fend for yourself against the virus because you're not as valuable as the people we need to get to work to do the economy. The infection guy says, if you go outside, you spread it to 59,000 people instead of 12, right? So the 59,000 people who get it are not as important as the couple thousand, 100,000, whatever it is, who need to get to the ships, who need to get to the widgets, who need to build the things, who need to ship the things, whatever it is. The workers who aren't at work right now, them working is more important than infecting the 59,000. So, and that's just one person, 59,000. So at the death rate, so we have to go, this all becomes theoretical. So theoretically, like if I'm looking at the numbers like a layman saying 10%, that's a lot. But what they really want to do is they want to get out the age group graph and they want to say, okay, in this age group, you're probably okay unless you're 70 and 80. And when they do that, they line right back up with those Nazi scientists. Like, it's like, because the Nazi scientists said the same thing. They would say, hey, if you're 70 or 80, you're very likely to die. Hey, if you're 70 and 80, we shouldn't give you hospital. We shouldn't give you health care. We shouldn't do surgery on you. Like, all of these things, you drift right back into that thing. And
I know what you mean. I think the thing that concerns me, Tom, is that now that you've said that and I've been won over, is that you're wearing a hat. And if I remember rightly, in 1935, 6, 7, the Nazis wore hats. And this is a slippery, so you wear the hat, you kill the people. But
it's really not the same thing. It's called apples and oranges. So that's a nice distraction. And it's fun. It's like a red herring. It's like you found it in the bag and you're like, oh, this distracts me. But the reality is, like, the Nazi doctors existed, their papers exist, and when we pull out their quotes, it's going to line up with what these guys have been saying on the news. And again, they mean well. They just want the economy back. Like, they just want the economy back. Gaddy Epstein writes on Twitter, he says, I've been wondering why the billionaires haven't stepped up on ventilators, PPE, although they normally don't buy equipment, but with Trump refusing to do his job, shouldn't these philanthropists pay manufacturers to convert and make this stuff immediately? Bloomberg, Bezos, Bill Gates, Jack Ma, I think this is. Jack Ma has actually stepped up. I don't think it's fair to include him in this. He's been sending PPE from China, which is a good idea. Bezos is pretty busy running the world supply chain. Bill Gates actually predicted this and ran pandemic awareness, had meetings about it, did a TED Talk. I think Bloomberg's donated some money as well, but I don't think we've seen the kind of large-scale, world-changing donations that maybe this author here is looking for. Accountability, competence, sincerity, honor. These are the attributes of a leader. Cuomo represents everything that makes us all American. Trump demonstrates what's wrong with our government. Complacency and failure to act will result in lives lost. So there's a Cuomo supporter. We have a different type of trolley problem here. Here's a little cartoon, and the cartoon has a trolley, and it's got a guy with a lever. And it says, you can stop the trolley at any time, but doing so would disrupt the trolley service, causing the company to lose profits. And there's a bunch of people tied to the rails, and the question is, how many people are you willing to kill, and you're going to cost the trolley company profits? So it's a different kind of trolley problem. Here's Brit Hume. He's 76-year-old, and he says it's entirely reasonable to let him die for the sake of the economy. Let's go right to it here. Oh, we're skipping graphics.
If you saw the show last night,
go.
you saw that Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick, came on. He's turning 70 this week, and he had a very specific and, for some, a challenging perspective on what our priorities are when it comes to coronavirus. Here's part of what he said.
Let's get back to work. Let's get back to living. Let's be smart about it.
Except for the old people, they're going to die.
70 plus, we'll take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country. Don't do that. Don't ruin this great American dream.
So you're basically saying that this disease could take your life, but that's not the scariest thing to you. There's something that would be worse than dying.
Yeah. And look, I'm going to do everything I can to live. But, you know, if you said, are you willing to take a chance? And, you know, if I get sick, I'll go and try to get better. But if I don't, I don't. And I'm not trying to think in any kind of morbid way, Tucker. But I'm just saying that we got a choice here. And we're going to be in a total collapse, recession, depression, collapse in our society. If this goes on another several months, there won't be any jobs to come back to for many people.
So that...
See, that guy really doesn't understand the virus, right? He's not a doctor or a scientist. He doesn't understand virology. He probably hasn't even watched that short British video where the guy says, instead of spreading it to 12 people, you would spread it to 59,000 people. Most people would think to themselves, that's not a good idea. That's not something that I want to do. So he really doesn't have an understanding of the virus. We have to let the virus roll out. Like, we have to, you know, let it run its course before we go back out in the streets. Like, we are just not listening to the experts at all. He's advocating a complete loss of all knowledge, as if we don't have scientists working, as if we don't have fields of this. Like, he's So let's see. Here we go. What does Bret Hume says again? And this is a newscaster.
That segment ran after a segment with someone who had another perspective. We didn't debate either one. We just thought you should hear both sides. We didn't even comment on it. A lot of people loved what Dan Patrick had to say. We got a huge response. A lot of people really, really hated it.
It's got a huge response.
So we thought we'd talk about it a little more with one
bunch of people in beer halls were excited.
Political analyst Brit Hume joins us tonight. Brit, thanks so much for coming on. What did you make of that? What was your view of it?
Well, I think he's essentially saying something that's not terribly different from what the president and Governor Cuomo have been saying, which is that this, what we're living in now, this circumstance as we try to beat this virus, is not sustainable. That the country, the utter collapse of the country.
We should give up. The virus is won.
You know, many think will happen if this goes on much longer, is an intolerable result. And that he is saying, for his own part, that he'd be willing to take a risk of getting the disease, if that's what it took to allow the economy to move forward. And he said that because he's late in life, you know, that he'd be perhaps more willing than he might have been at a younger age. which seems to me to be an entirely reasonable viewpoint. Now, I
Wow.
guess a lot of people think that, you know, as,
And their
as
audience
your
is
previous guest
80%
just suggested,
elderly here.
That, you
This
know,
is
any
a
kind
death
of
to
risk
the
with
audience
anybody's
right here.
life is intolerable. And I think,
Used to
you know,
be.
we live with the risk of you know, seasonal influenza
False-
every year.
false comparison,
And thousands
false
upon
comparison.
thousands die from it.
False
But we do
comparison.
not, as has been pointed out, shut down the economy to combat it. Now, look, the
False
mortality
comparison
rate from this
continuing.
is higher enough that it makes it alarming. So it's obviously
There it
much
is,
more,
reality.
a special kind
Ding.
of case. But there we are. You know, we don't shut down the economy to save every single life that's threatened by a widespread disease. We just don't.
Why do you think saying that? I mean, what you're saying is factually true. There's no precedent for doing that. And we faced a lot of
Your
epidemics.
red herrings are
over the years.
factually
I'm not even
true.
taking
Your
position on
apples
where we
and
ought to
your
go next.
oranges.
But just
Your
stating
false
that out
numbers.
loud, why do you
Yeah.
think that enrages so many people? Sincerely.
Well, I can't know that. I
Why do
can't
people
read the minds
don't like
of people.
Nazis?
I don't know, but there's
Why don't
one
they
thing
like
I do
Nazi
suspect in all of
policies?
this in terms
I'm
of
so
the reactions
confused.
to it.
Like
We are
when
living-
I go on TV and I say that I should kill your grandmother, your professors, your elderly, all your old people, and people don't like that. And I say, why don't people like that? Gosh, I wonder, why don't people like just letting a virus kill the elderly? Gosh, I mean, when the scientists and the experts say that if we stay inside for a couple weeks, the virus will reduce, as well as if we give them a year and a half, they'll have a vaccine. But instead, people want to shop at Jamba Juice right now, so we should kill grandma. And I can't figure out why this isn't popular. I mean, we had a big response. You know, a lot of people got all irritated when we said we wanted to kill the elderly. Gosh, why is that? I mean, and you know, what about, you know, mentally infirm people? What about disabled people? You know, are they going to get mad when we say we want to kill them too? Gosh, how are we going to convince people that it's okay to let our entire audience who's watching at home die from a virus so that we can go shopping? Like, I mean, how can we take this risk? Yes, you're saying on the other side, you're like, oh, it's only 10%. It's only 10% of the elderly. I mean, who cares? Like,
here's an equivalent. I'm just trying to think of because I like apples and oranges, and I like trying to make them fit, like when you used to get like the shapes and just bash them in whichever
it's
one.
just going to be false
So here's the
equivalencies, man. It's not going to work.
Apples and oranges. So say, for example, you with peanuts as an allergy, peanut allergy. So do you think that is acceptable that people still die from nuts, and which they do, and it's obviously not acceptable from dying from allergy. So surely, you know, in that case, because it's X number of people per year, we should just, you know, that's it, remove peanuts from all of society, because
it's just not at the same scale. The other scale here is that even the people who don't die from this disease get sick. So either you have people,
lots of people really don't like peanuts.
People that can't stay home, people that have to go to work, people who are out spreading this. So what you're saying is that everyone should get sick and keep working, keep spreading this thing, so that we can. Well, no, this is the alternatives are like the easy one is stay home.
I'll say
like we got to spread this thing. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that this guy.
When I say the words, that's when you can say, you say. If I don't say the words, and this is like something that you notice in the
I can't figure out.
Lots of times people don't say the words, but then other people say, "But you said." And it's like,
when you're trying to like,
I don't want to kill old people. Like, that's crazy. Siri.
It's shocking.
Everything have something to do when you drill down with how they feel about Donald Trump.
It's a personal feeling about Donald Trump. That's why we don't like killing old people.
Is
they
similar
figured it out.
In overall message to what Donald Trump has been saying. I think some of the reaction to it may flow from that.
It's such a shame because this moment isn't about Donald Trump. It's about us. It's about the rest of the country. So I mean, maybe we should focus on that.
Well,
it's such a shame that people don't like Adolf Hitler. Like, his policies are so reasonable and accepting, but I think when you really come back to it, they just don't like Hitler. They don't like his mustache. They think he's a bad dude. And, you know, if Hitler came in here and said that he loved puppies and he's giving everyone a puppy, you guys would not support it. You'd say you don't even like puppies. So, no, it's not acceptable. Your dislike of Adolf Hitler is clouding your acceptance of our Nazi policies. So not a good look. Not a good look from Brit Hume. We talked about these charts already. In case you're wondering, there was a program in Germany called the T4 program. It was a T4 euthanasia program, and it was a program to kill the incurably ill, physically or mentally disabled, emotionally distraught, and elderly people. The program was initiated in 1939, and while officially discontinued in 1941, killings continued covertly until the military defeat of Nazi Germany in 1935. Let's get some great statements here from the doctors. Let's see. It was a mercy killing. According to the best available human judgment, they would kill these people because they had a life unworthy of living. Some people enthusiastically endorsed this program. However, the criteria for inclusion was not exclusively genetic, nor was it necessarily based on infirmity. An important criterion was economic. Nazi officials assigned people to this program largely based on their economic productivity. The Nazis referred to the program's victims as burdensome lives and useless eaters. So there's clearly no comparison here to the economically weak elderly in the United States who have had a good life, and the economically weak in Germany who were taken to be mercy killed. The virus won't be mercy killing these people. It will be drowning them, as they won't have ventilators. As you see right here, Trump talking to an actual sick person, an actual witness in a cartoon. You think you're having a bad day.
That actually happened as well.
Well, he's never visited the sick this time for sure. Although we have a picture coming up of Putin visiting the sick in a full hazmat suit. So if you really want to say that there's nothing to worry about, we should go back to work. Let me show you Putin in a hazmat suit. Trump says right here, you think you're having a bad day. You should say that you should see the way that I'm being treated by the media. Whew. Smoking. That's some trouble there. Political comics continue to be one of my favorite things. You can really say the truth in a comic in a way that you can't say it everywhere else. It's the jesters who have the truth. The Easter Massacre, hashtag Easter Massacre is trending on Twitter because nothing says Christian love more than spreading a pandemic and sacrificing your grandma to delay the inevitable crash for 2 more weeks. And that's the other problem with the whole sacrifice the elderly plan, is that it wouldn't work. Like, everyone would have to stop work to go to funerals, to have to dig the mass graves. Like Bill Gates says, there's going to be bodies piling up on the street. Emotionally, people aren't going to be able to stay working when their families are dying and when they're the ones out there affecting it and spreading it. The Dow Jones took off slightly this morning based on the stimulus package, and we finally had a winner for Best At-Home CNBC background. I would even go so far to say this background is better than anything I've seen on any of the late night shows, which are broadcasting from home now, just like us. It's a level playing field. Check out that background. Obvious Grateful Dead poster right there. Possible Janis Joplin poster right here. I think this is Bob Marley, the Lion, right here. And then this also looks like a really sweet show. Percy Sledge, Arthur Connolly, Sam and Dave show. This just looks like an awesome poster. Shout out to this guy. I didn't catch his name. I don't watch CNBC that much. I don't know all the commentaries' names, but great background. He's also got some heads here, some books, more books, family pictures, just fantastic background. So many of these backgrounds are terrible. So it was awesome to see a good background. The COVID infection rate on Rikers Island, the prison in New York, is truly terrifying. We see the infection rate there at 72%. So 72% of the prison is infected. If you can imagine opening this up on a larger scale, let's all go to church. 72% protected, affected. That's really going to work. Here's a good. Actually, there's another update. They've released a lot of people from Rikers. There's been 300 or so inmates that were nonviolent who have been released. Why were they in jail for the first place? Not sure about that.
If you could just release prisoners like that, it really does beg the question as to why even bother putting them in.
Let's check out how to wash your hands. This is how to wash your hands like a surgeon. Good video for the rest of us. Try to do a better job on this. Here's some ink. He's washing his hands, crossing them over. Other side. You can see all the white spaces that it's not getting. So he has to do this fingernail thing. It's a big process.
I like the analogy that you have to wash your hands as if you're desperately in need of a tug and you've just handled lots of chilies.
Or you're about to put your hands in your eyes or change your contacts. That's a good one. You're going to put the chilies on your hands. I
prefer the tug.
Wash your hands like a surgeon. Don't end up like Putin right here. Here he is wearing a full hazmat suit, as well as the people with him are wearing hazmat suits and massive respirators. So don't wear a mask. Ignore this virus. Keep having coronavirus parties. Let's give it to everybody. Putin seems to think differently. So
I heard that Chuck Norris got, what's it called? He got diagnosed with COVID. But don't worry, the COVID virus has been put in quarantine for 12 days. Oh God, I screwed that joke up. I'm really sorry.
Chuck Norris got the coronavirus, and
No,
now
he didn't really.
the coronavirus is sick.
Oh yeah, exactly, yeah.
In Russia, in Soviet Russia, you don't get coronavirus. Coronavirus gets you. Africa puts coronavirus restrictions on the United States, China, and Europe. This is some hopeful story here. Not sure which part of Africa they're referring to, but after their experience with Ebola, many African nations built up their medical infrastructure and know-how and are ready to fight the spread of COVID-19. So there's some positive story, although they were saying in the chat that it's going to rip through developing nations, that they're completely not prepared for this virus. They've never seen anything like this. We talked a little bit about video games. Let's see what's been going on our video game thread here on the old Twitters. You can follow me on Twitter at MadBitcoins. Been playing South Park game. Ian's been checking out Half-Life Alyx. That sounds good. I know the classic Half-Life, of course. Bitcoin Warrior's been building up his Wii and Wii U collections from eBay. Of course, you got to quarantine those packages for 24 hours because the coronavirus can live on cardboard for up to 24 hours.
I thought it was 3 days. I heard that because the cardboard's like porous, it's up to 3 days.
I heard cardboard was the lowest. I think metal, it was like 2 to 3 days. So it could be on metal. But yeah, just set them aside, put them in your garage or something. That's what Balaji suggests. I've been not touching them and put them in the corner and then presuming they're okay after 24 hours or 48 hours. But who knows? Who knows if anything's safe or okay? I plugged in the Wii, but I haven't found batteries or controllers. I think this is the guy from The Witcher, from Hold Your Bags. That might be Witcher, the TV show. Sun Exchange got Animal Crossing New Horizons and says we can come visit their island. I played Animal Crossing a little bit on the GameCube. I wasn't that into it. It's kind of a Sims, kind of a interactive build up your house game. But I guess a lot of people are way into it, especially with the quarantine and the staying home. Peter says he's playing A Plague Tale. I don't know that one. So shout out to everybody who shared their video game ideas for what they've been playing in the chat. It's fun to play some games. It's a good time to take a break and just to stay home. Jonathan.
Side news. Sorry, just very quickly. Yeah. Didn't Crypto Bitlord? I don't know if anyone else is familiar with him, the Australian dude. I heard that he tried to he suggested paying 1 Bitcoin to everyone who sends a video of him licking a toilet seat, and apparently now he has his profile's dead. Well, I say apparently, profile looks dead.
Well, that's a terrible idea. That's an awful idea. No one should lick toilet seats, and no one should give people money for it.
I did it for 1 Bitcoin.
Of course you would. And it's sad. It's sad that that's a possibility, and so on and so forth. So no, don't lick any toilet seats. Come on. And yeah, it's sad farewell to whoever Crypto Bitlord was or whatever, because you're not going to come back from that one. That's going to be another one of those I only cried fire in a crowded theater. I only tried to kill hundreds of people by accident. I thought it was funny. Okay, I get it. Next time, think more. It's not funny. Jonathan Hari writes an article for Vice. Guaranteeing people a basic income significantly reduces anxiety and depression. Seems like a good idea. Seems like something we could use. Mediatronics CEO, I saw this on CNBC. He reports around 200,000 ventilators worldwide, with a need for 30,000 in New York alone. He talks a good talk about the need to move the ventilators from crisis to crisis and even country to country. But the bottom line is that we need more ventilators. Will we make them? We're going to find out in the next few days, next few weeks, if America makes enough ventilators or if we go into triage and then the doctors will have to decide who lives and dies based upon age and other factors, just like a war. We talked about earlier, 300 more inmates are being released from Rikers. Hope they don't have the coronavirus. They also said there is at least one case of the coronavirus in the immigration concentration camps on our border. So that's bad for them, very bad. They should be released. It's inhumane to keep people who are in jail for one thing in jail for another thing if they get the virus. It's something you have to weigh the humanity of. You know, you were in jail because you didn't pay your taxes or because you had an accounting problem or whatever, some kind of nonviolent crime. You're not in jail being forced to die from this virus as well. That's cruel, right? We remember cruelty. Remember that we're against it. Remember we don't like it when it happens to other people because sometimes it happens to us. And like even if we try really hard to keep it from happening to us, that still people will be cruel to our family or our friends. So it's good not to be cruel. These little basic things maybe we've forgotten. Amazon workers in 8, I heard it was 9, warehouses test positive for coronavirus. So once again, the weakest among us. We may be fancy people who order from Amazon, but the actual people who deliver it, who put it in the boxes, who work with the robots, if they don't have health care, if they're not given sick leave, if they're not taken care of, they can infect us. This is our new interconnected and interrelated society, which, spoiler alert, has always been interconnected. Oh, it's as if they were hiding the truth from us the whole time. But yes, we're interconnected.